I love starting the stream right as that Dark Souls 2 trailer cinematic ends because it's a perfect segue into this video. What's up, everybody? FornaTRON here. And today we're going to be going into how I would make a Souls-like game. Let's just get into it. So this kind of came up after the review that I made up about Lords of the Fallen, and I see this a lot with a lot of people. Like, if you have any sort of negative criticism of anything, you will have commenters or people in the peanut gallery who will say, let's see you make thing and see how you do. So apparently you cannot have any kind of sort of criticism of a thing unless you can make that thing. Which I think is ridiculous. So we're going to bring up my first example here, which is Demon Souls. So this is emulated on RPCS3. This is also with a 60 FPS hack. It's like the true version of like how this game should play. And I wish we had the same thing for Bloodborne, but maybe one day, as soon as PS4 emulation becomes a thing, we'll be able to play Bloodborne properly. I'm almost willing to find a PlayStation with the right firmware on it so I can do that new exploit that allows you to play the games in 60 FPS. But today's topic, we are talking about how I would make a Souls-like. And let's just go to this for a second here. The best example that I have for anyone listening, so this is for like new developers or a developer, if you're thinking about making a Souls game and you want to know where to start, you need to look at Demon Souls, the original Demon Souls. This is where it all began. And a lot of people think that you can just like jump to being like Elden Ring or like jump to being a game like Dark Souls 3 or Sekiro. And it's like, no, you can't. Because From Software had like a decade worth of experience under their belt before they got to those levels. And you're just some jabroni starting out. And I know you want to aim high, but you want to aim realistically. But before we even get there, you want to decide what kind of game you're making. So what is your favorite From Software game? Is it Sekiro? Is it Elden Ring? Is it Bloodborne? And it's important which one you pick because a lot of these developers try to merge them all into one. They're like, what if it was Bloodborne, but you had the prosthetic arm in Sekiro, or like you had deflecting from Sekiro? And it's like, no, because that completely changes the gameplay, the game style, just like how things work. And it breaks the game, kind of. Lies of P is a great example of that. I know a lot of people love Lies of P, but Lies of P is what if you crammed a bunch of shit into one game and then try to make it work. So with Lies of P, you have the P organ that you have to upgrade. You have your RPG stats, which you have to upgrade. You also have your arm that you have to upgrade. And then when you upgrade the P organ, you also have little subsets of items that you like upgrade so you get more damage with like your special attacks whatsoever. So there's just so many things that you have to upgrade, but at the same time, none of them really feel like they get you like super OP. And you'll level up, but like it doesn't really feel like you've leveled up, but it's because you're supposed to level up and then you're supposed to level up your P organ, and then that's what gets you more damage. And it's like, I don't know, it completely ruins it. And yeah, there's deflects, but like deflects also still take out HP. And let's get a perfect deflect, and then let's say you get a perfect deflect, and then the boss's health bar is like shaking white or whatever, and then you get the heavy attack, and then you can do the visceral on it. Like how Sekiro rewards you with perfect deflects is if you get a bunch of perfect deflects, then you get a fatal blow, and you will take out the boss's whole HP bar rather than just some of it. So that promotes someone to learn the deflect mechanic, whereas in Lies of P, you're rewarded with like a little bit more damage. And it's like, well, I could just keep doing chip damage and then not be as risky. But anyway, getting off topic here. So we're gonna talk about Demon Souls. And this is why I think a lot of new people who are aspiring to be a dev for a Souls-like should look at Demon Souls, because just how simplistic it is, and it's a great starting base for you to learn how to make your first Souls game. So first thing is, a lot of these games spend a huge amount of their budget on these like insane cinematics that their game will never live up to. In my opinion, throw that out the garbage, and you should focus on making a cinematic just like Demon Souls did. So it doesn't start off the game with this cinematic. This is just a cinematic that you can use for promotion material, like hyping your game up. But it's also the cinematic that plays when you sit on the start screen. And it's pretty simple. So it's just like some text. And you have some landscape shots with some more text. So again, it's not too hard. It's not that expensive. And it's to kind of like set the atmosphere. And then you got your main music that comes in. And then you have your title splash. Then here you go. This part is badass. I think this came out in 2009. So see, kind of getting used to some of the enemies that you might face. Again, this is a starting class armor set, so like you can be this character. It's like, think of the music. Think of how easy that shit is. Like, you can probably hire someone on Fiverr to do all this with MIDI and like do a pretty good job. And again, you're kind of hinting at mechanics. So you're showing off the summoning mechanic. And then you're hinting at one of the bosses. Again, this is kind of a debate because this boss sucks in this game. It's a shitty puzzle boss. You don't actually get to fight it. But simple enough. Like, I don't think that would break the budget too much if you just made like a simple intro like that. So let's start a new game. And then here you have your character creator, and then you can have it however you want. But I love the character creator in like even Demon Souls. Like, think of for the time, this is pretty advanced, but now you can make it way better. I hate in modern character creators, like it's got like a bunch of like pre-made faces, and then you can only select between the few faces. Make it like totally customizable so people can just go nuts with their character creation here. You also have the class that you pick, and then you see all of their stats on the left. So you got to have like your strength build, your dex build. I don't know if a lot of you, if you're starting, like if I was starting like my own Souls, like if I would make a sorcery build or a faith build, because that just makes things more complicated. I would just start off with the melee builds and then just only have melee builds. Maybe a ranged build, you could even like throw in like someone with a bow or something, but you don't want to get too crazy, because again, a lot of games too, they'll have like sorcery builds or faith builds, and they won't tune their bosses or their enemies to those builds, so you can just like stand there and spam them from like 20 feet away. Why people mad at your Lords of the Fallen review? I loved it. Well, Phoenix Lair, thank you so much. I don't know, people are just like, I wish I could get in the mindset of some of those people. So like, I don't understand. And what I've discovered through most of them is like, most of them haven't played the From Software games. So they haven't played Dark Souls, or they haven't played Sekiro, they haven't played Elden Ring, and then but they love Lords of the Fallen, which blows my mind. Or I really don't get it. Like maybe they got Lords of the Fallen, and they know it sucks, but they paid full pop for it, and they don't want to look stupid for their purchase, so they're defending it out the ass. And then also there's some people that like maybe they played Dark Souls way back when and then hated it, and then so they hate anything from Software. So any game that is a Souls like that isn't From Software, they just gush over it. I don't understand. But yeah, anyway, so like I would just mainly focus on melee builds for your first kind of go through as making a Souls game. So let's hit OK. I'm gonna put in a name. Put Jabroni. Nice. Okay. And then this is genius. So this is like the intro to the game. Again, super simple. It's kind of like a slideshow, and then it just has like text and like a good voiceover.
To his northern kingdom of Boletaria.
And it's still very effective.
Until the colorless deep fog.
So you don't have to spend a lot of money here. You just have some nice visuals, maybe some concept art. Boom.
Boletaria was cut off from the outside world, and those who dared penetrate the deep fog never returned. But Valorfax of the royal twin fangs broke free from the fog and told the world of Boletaria's plight.
Like literally, like you could go hire a voice actor that can just read out a bit, and like don't cheap out and use AI like Lords of the Fallen did. Like that dialogue was bad.
Fog had swept in.
But look how effective this is. This is probably just all of their concept art that they had their art department draw up when they were making the game. And then boom, dual usage, you can put that as like the intro for your game.
Also lose their minds. The mad attack the sane, and chaos reigns.
And it's super effective.
Spoke of the enticing power.
Like you don't need like a huge cinematic intro to your game. You don't need that. It's nice, but like your game should live up to it though. But if you're just starting out, you probably don't have the money for that, and you shouldn't have the money for that, because just like Lords of the Fallen, I could definitely tell they probably spent a good chunk of money on all of those cinematics, and then they just haphazardly like chopped them together and then made that their game intro. And it's weird because it has random cuts, so it's like they paid for the little clips separately, and then they just try to mash them together.
Chief Sage Urbane, Scurver the Wanderer.
You like the intro of Lords of the Fallen or Demon Souls? Like, why wouldn't you like the intro to Lords of the Fallen? It looks like a CGI movie.
The colorless
that they could never live up to.
Creeps beyond Boletaria's borders. Human faces a
well, it's good because it's effective. Like, look, this is probably the same picture. They just made it black and white.
The deep fog will eventually swallow all land.
And then you just throw a film grain effect over top of it. Mint. Fucking mint.
But Boletaria has one final hope. A lone warrior who has braved the baneful fog.
Like, the only thing animated was the fucking fire effect.
Or have the demons found a new slave?
Like, literally, just get an old lady with a voice like that to read out your dialogue, and it instantly sounds better. So, yes, we would like to replay the Journey to the Nexus. This part's cool, too. Is it's like, this is just in-game rendered.
Brave soul.
So people go, oh, that's my character. Cool.
I shall guide you.
It's literally a black room with a little bit of water in it,
To slumber.
and then like a glowing hole, a glowing hole. Awesome. So look how effective that was. Even to this day, this gameplay is really good. So yeah, you're fat rolling because you got way too much shit on. So let's fix that. I wonder if I can... Maybe I'll take away that little dagger too. There we go. See, when you're proper rolling, you're in business, buddy. Okay, so here's one thing that I want to show off. Is just like, when you make your game, make a box like this and have one enemy. And it should feel good to strafe around the enemy and like roll around them. Even though this game doesn't have quad directional rolling, it's only got, or does, I think it only has bi-directional rolling. It doesn't have quad. So you can only roll sideways and then frontwards and backwards. You can't roll like in a diagonal. So yeah, it only has bi-directional. Or is that quad directional? I don't know. But like literally, make a room like this. And then this is how you determine if your game's going to be good or not. Because your character shouldn't feel slippery when you move it around. Like you shouldn't be sliding frames. And then also when you roll, like look at the roll in this game. This is their first attempt and the roll still kicks ass. And then look at this too. So compare this to the Lords of the Fallen. So this is you with a straight sword. And look how far ahead we only moved. We didn't like jump ahead 20 feet. So again, like this should feel good before you even move further in the game. Like you should just make a box like this, put an enemy in it, and then just make sure your character movement feels good. So make sure the movement, and I don't know what it is about, especially with Unreal Engine games. Like I find when you run around the map in Unreal Engine games, it feels like the character's not moving anywhere, but the map is on a treadmill beneath it. And I think it's just the way the camera follows the character. Maybe it's like because it's always fixed in one spot in Unreal Engine games, but in this, it's just like, it feels good. This is Demon's Souls, the original on PS3, but I'm emulating it. That's why it plays at 60 FPS. That's why it plays so much better. The remake is Omni, yeah. Oops, accidentally spent years working on visuals. Yeah, but here's the thing though, Unreal Engine 5, all the visuals look great, so you don't even have to put a lot of effort there. I find like you can put a nice skybox and you can have very detailed triangle textures, like you do, like this is what you should spend your time on, is just making sure that the enemies, like you could strafe around them, the lock-on works perfectly fluent, and you can run around the enemy, you can roll, get out of the way, and it all feels good. And I wonder if this is their first game, but I wonder because in Dark Souls, the inputs change whether or not like you press certain things at the same time. Like obviously you have your R1 that you can just mash. You also have your R2, which is your heavy attack. In Demon's Souls and Dark Souls 1, there was no charged R2, so like if you hold R2, it doesn't do a damn thing. It's just, you just press it once. But I know if you press like up in R2, you could do like a jump attack, and I don't think that does anything. No. So yeah. But there are some combos. And then it should change when you go two-hand. So that's pretty cool. But even still, like this feels great. Very nice. And you see how that enemy did nothing to me? It's because this is the tutorial area. So the enemy did not attack me, and this is to like reinforce the character and then make the player feel powerful. What's up, Salty? Someone said today that sad that Lords of the Fallen wasn't good. There's a big market for high fidelity Souls games. And that's the thing too. There's a whole segmented section of gamer that prioritizes visual fidelity over gameplay. Like people don't give a shit about the game as long as it looks nice. Horizon Forbidden West being a great example of that. Like they don't give a crap about the gameplay. They just care that it looks nice. And there's tons of players like that. So they're just like, oh, I can't really get into Dark Souls or Elden Ring or whatever because I feel like the visuals are lacking and they don't understand the appeal is the gameplay. And what I feel is some of these developers who make Souls-likes are kind of in the same boat as well. They don't truly understand why people love these games. So again, okay, I think this is the first enemy that will attack you. So let's look at their attack patterns as well. So you'll notice that like they don't have perfect tracking either. So they have to commit to an attack as well. So like he'll do like a charged up attack and look, he has to commit. So let's do it again. Okay, that hit me. Let's see if I can strafe that attack. Most likely I can. But like, I just find that the enemies in Unreal Engine games have super unnatural like tracking, so they'll like completely fucking spin and then hit you because their attacks are coded to just hit you no matter what. Actually, I don't even care if it is soul level. We should give a chance to every game. The point is that Lords of the Fallen is just bad. Forget about even comparing. It is just bad, but again, I wasn't like rooting for it to be bad. Like, it's just disappointing when all these games like claim to be like the next best Souls-like, and then you just look at it and you're like, you clearly didn't learn anything from your first go at making a Souls-like. So it just kind of pisses me off. Okay, let's kill one of these dudes. And then let's show off the parry and riposte. So even in this game, like, it's super rewarding to get off a parry, but it's not necessary. Like, you don't need, you could go through the whole game and never learn how to parry. But it's super rewarding when you learn how, because it does massive damage and you can one-shot a lot of things that you normally wouldn't be able to. Some people don't know about this, but the game in this tutorial area will keep you at 1 HP, so you can't die in this area. Are you talking about the 1 million in sales that Lords of the Fallen just recently announced? It's like, yeah, good for them. It's like, great. I'm glad that 1 million people, including myself, bought that game. And I bought that game knowing I wouldn't like it, so I definitely played myself. It's like, but lots of games that... Also, this game also has backstabs, which Lords of the Fallen did not, which I thought was stupid that they did not have a backstab of any kind. So again, this, like, it's easy on purpose, and it's to give the player a little bit of confidence so they go into the next place thinking that they're going to be big dick and damage, but they're going to like really quickly find out that they're going to get wrecked. 1 million fools, yeah. How many did Saints Row sell? I have no idea. How much was that game? I think it was it $60 USD? Oh, too early. There we go. See, look at that. We one-shot that dude. But just like, look how effective this is. So like this guy right here. So this is where it becomes really valuable to know how... See, look, I did 20 damage there. Check this out. Fucking completely one-shot him if you land a parry. So parries are like worth it in this game. Whereas in other games, they make parries just like do like a little bit more than regular damage. And I like this because this enemy, see, he's a little bit smarter. He won't let you just cut, like, jabait him into a backstab. Come on, hit me. See, now he's turtling. But this is also showing you, like, you can turtle too. You can just hide behind your shield. Battle of the Ages, everybody. See, it's funny because it looks goofy now, but like back in 2009, nobody knew like how to manage stamina properly. So this was tough. God, I just want to like... This is ridiculous. There we go. Yeah, but they had a recent earnings call, and you got to remember too. So the game was made in Unreal Engine, so they have to pay a license cost per game that they made. So that's a huge chunk of money. It cost them $70 million to make. It cost them like $60 million to make. And they also spent quite a lot of money on advertising and like promotion and stuff. So are they still profitable? And I don't think, yeah, like it definitely, and plus all the taxes they probably had to pay on it as well. But still, anybody should be proud to sell 1 million games. Like that's still an accomplishment, and you can't take that away from them no matter what. But I just really feel like they didn't understand what's great about Souls games. And like even me playing Demon Souls from 2009, sure, this is emulated. This is not how people really experience it on a PlayStation 3. Like I have a PlayStation 3 and I can boot up that version, and it's definitely a lot different. But even just playing this, I find it way more enjoyable because of the movement and just like how everything feels like compared to Lords of the Fallen. Oh my god, I just wrecked. But yeah, this, like, what's great about this is like it's here to show, like, because players probably go through that first part and they're probably like, oh damn, this game's easy, like I got this shit. And then they get to this boss here, which you're supposed to die against, and then they just die. And it kind of teaches you, it's like, yeah, you're supposed to, like, this game's all about dying. I find it almost easier if you just like don't lock on. I'm surprised I haven't died. I'm just kind of fighting him like an asshole. There we go. But it's meant to take you a long time because like you're supposed to die here. Everyone's like, you're making excuses for bad game design. Murdered. Easy peasy. Okay. So yeah, like I think this is still very effective for a game. All right, now I know what we're talking about here. Okay. Let's fucking talk about Lords of the Fallen. Where's that piece of shit? Here we go. I will give kudos to Hexwork and CI for literally putting out a new update almost every fucking day. So good for them. But also, why would you release a game in such a state? Like, I think that's shitty as well. At least you control your character properly in this game. You're not running like a headless chicken. That's true. All right. Let's boot up this piece of shit. People are like, why do you harp on this game so hard? And it's just because it's not a good game. Like, I really feel like they missed the mark. Yeah, 12 patches. Like, that's not something to brag about. Like, that's cool that they're constantly patching the game and like keeping it updated and stuff. Okay, watch this intro cinematic.
Of tyranny, the demon god Adir was finally overthrown by humanity. Though fear of his terrible power endured.
Like, it just fucking does that.
And so was formed the
So terrible editing.
Sentinels. Our duty being to stand vigil for signs of his return. Even exile to another realm could not silence the fallen god forever. And in time, Adir's malignant influence pervaded the world once more. In his hunger for vengeance, Adir orchestrated the return of his demonic army. Light was swallowed by shadow, and with it, hope. A new, grim champion arises. The Dark Crusader.
And the voiceover is like so monotone and like
Perhaps it will indeed come to pass.
feels like it's done by AI.
That only they who shun the light in order to fight the darkness possess the power to defy a god.
The music's so Star Wars to me. So here's what's funny. So, and again, weird editing. So your character fights the Light Reaper, or whatever the hell that dude's name is. So he fights him here. And then gets killed. But people are like, no, because he goes into the other realm. He goes in the Umber realm. And that's why he still survives. Yeah, well, that's what I feel like a lot of games want to do. They want to make a CGI movie rather than a game. So this step here, this was, I think, confirmed by Digital Foundry today. So this is the shader pre-compilation step here. So it's at least good that they did that. So there are no shader stutters during the game, but there are lots of other stutters. And we wait. Yeah, Wallet Reaper. Fucking buzzing. And I don't think console players have to go through this. It's just PC players. Okay, so here we go. It was weird. When I first played this game, I couldn't select things with a controller. I had to use my mouse to select stuff. And like I had a bunch of weird issues. But I think they got most of those fixed. Wow, this is low times. Or did the game crash? Please don't tell me the game crashed. Okay, here we go. Such optimization. I have an M2 SSD too, so like, don't blame it on the specs. One question, did they change the speed of running? No, they definitely did not. Okay, so like, there we go. It took a few seconds to kick in there. All right, so again, the environments look great. The textures look great, but what the hell is with this running animation? Like, what is this? Also, the physics when you roll into boxes, like, check this out. Like, it's just like, they just like explode. I think they toned it down a little bit, but they definitely would just like, kablooey, just like immediately erupt. Okay, so I'm gonna switch out of this heavy sword here. I'm gonna go to this regular sword. So remember in Demon Souls when I would press R1? So check this out. Look how far ahead it sends you. I can like traverse the whole level just by fucking pressing R1. Like, so you can walk, you can run, and you can just press R1 and fucking traverse the whole level, which I think is ridiculous. And then R2 is the same. Lies of P, that game's a fucking cheat. And like, it has questionable hitboxes and there's some bullshit in that game too. So I was lucky when I went through that game. Consumable, like throwables were fucking super OP. And I just stopped leveling up and I spent all my money on a bunch of throwables and I just spam throwables through like the rest of the game and I fucking crushed it. So again, like, it just feels like, I don't know why you have to have so much momentum moving forward with your attacks. If this wasn't the case, like if your attacks didn't have this much momentum, it would feel a hell of a lot better and I wouldn't be complaining as much. And like this regular animation, this is okay. This is fine. But why is the running animation so silly? It really reminds me of Dark Souls 2. And same with the roll. I think it's because like when you roll, there's that few second pause where like your character is just like kneeling to get up. Yeah, like it just feels funny to me. And then the umbral mechanic. So we got to press this. No, we got to go down here, press this. To go into this realm, and people are like, isn't that crazy that it's like a whole nother realm, like it's a whole nother level on top of a level? And it's like, once you think about it, it's not really. All they've done is just made these textures visible and then you just see some other stuff. So it's not like they made two whole worlds on top of each other. It's just one world with some textures. This part I hate. So there's these types of enemies here that are invulnerable to your attacks. Unless you're like, you do like way too much damage. But still, like, they're pretty like, look, he constantly heals. Because you have to use this mechanic. And somebody was like, that only takes 1 second. And that took at least 3 seconds. And then now I can kill these people. And I hate any mechanic like that, where it's like the player can't just play the way that they want. They have to play the way the game wants them to play. It's like, we want you fucking better use that umbral mechanic. Because we spent a lot of time thinking that shit up. All their money went into Pieta. That is fucking hilarious because it's true. Like, Pieta is literally the best boss in the game. And spoiler alert, she was so good that they made her the secret final boss at the end. Like, I was like, are you fucking joking me? That's the secret boss, is just Pieta again? And then someone earlier today asked me what I meant by lackluster generic enemies. Look at this fucking enemy. Does this scream creativity to you? This looks amazing, by the way. Another thing Radikosker was talking about, he loves this mechanic here. You see how as long as I hold the shield up and this enemy hits me here like this, I don't lose any damage, or I don't lose any health. So I'm just getting I forget what type of damage this is, but it's making my health bar like fill up with gray. And what that means is, as long as I'm holding out my shield and then I attack, I can get that health back. So, okay. Or, hear me out, how about a fucking shield that just does 100% physical protection? Like, I feel like it's the same thing with just more extra steps. Just an opinion. So your last spoiler alert. I'm honest when I say I keep for their next Liza P. Keen for their... Yes, I really hope Liza P has its issues, but I feel like after playing Lords of the Fallen, I'm more forgiving of Liza P's shortfalls. So again, like, oh yay, this is so interesting to have this be a core mechanic of the game. I go in this realm, I get to see some extra backgrounds and shit, and I get some extra textures on the ground, and the filter for the game is a little bit different. And it's like, sweet. People are like, it's like 2 games on top of 1 game. No, it's not. Oh, I hate these fucking enemies. See, look at that dude. I really hate like how he fucking just like, oh, I keep pressing dodge to oh, these dudes too with the crossbows. And all projectiles have like fucking crazy fucking accuracy. Like, projectiles will fucking hit you from like way across the arena. Putties from Power Rangers, exactly. Holy shit, that's a good reference. Yeah, nothing is perfect, but like here, I'm at like, there is so much of this game that I'm just like, wow. Like, imagine like, okay, this place looks nice. This is a cool looking area, but it's like, imagine like traversing this area with a character that controlled as well as a Dark Souls 3 character. Like, how dope would that be? These shitty dogs too. Look how much damage that fucking dog did to me. And I'm a level 100 character, and this is not like endgame. Love it. A lot of people were like, oh, you need to use the sidestep more. And it's like, yeah, but if you use the sidestep, you have to be locked on to the enemies. People are like, what's wrong with that? And it's like, well, if you're up against a big mob of enemies, then you got to constantly lock on between the different enemies. Makes no sense. Okay, so here's another one of those areas. I fucking hate that they do this. So you'll go to attack these people, but you can't because there's this motherfucker up here. So you got to go up here. 1, 2, 3. So that takes 3 seconds. I love that fucking dog. Nice. I've got the bleed, ma. My controller disconnected. What? It's working fine. That's weird. So now I'm in this shitty umbral state. I want game to be very detailed and lore based, dark with HP Lovecraft concepts. Unique creation bosses give us fear by their difficulty. Yeah, like that's what Bloodborne does really well, because the bosses and just everything is just so gruesome, and it's just like got really cool horror vibes. I love how both of the enemies are floating in the air. So again, great work, game. All right, let's fuck this dude up. I love how they defy gravity. Nice. Nice, he hit me. All the putties are after me. I forgot I should be locked on so I could sidestep. See how that still like snaps to me? There we go. Still hits me. Oh man, I'm fucking these dudes up. Elden Ring, don't have gruesome boss, still I'm scared of millennia. Rykard was pretty cool. Rykard is really awesome because it really reminds me of like Bloodborne. But I wish they would go back to that kind of area. Why the hell's dodging so fast? Yeah, like the timing for stuff is just goofy. Like it needs a bit more finesse. And I think they spent a lot of time like, oh, they want to make this look really nice. And kudos, yeah, like this. And then, oh, great, they have Halloween lanterns. Great. So like, yeah, they made this part look nice. Great stuff. I'm seeing... There we go. I think that made it worse for the stream. That's a bit better. It just, I see tearing in the stream, but I don't see tearing on my actual screen here. They just really needed to finesse like how the game just fucking feels. A lot of people were like skill issue, and it's like, no, dude, it's just the game feels like weird. And the level design is not that great. Like, there's tons of places where you just end up in a dead end. Yeah, together. Like this boss was a fucking joke. Why is there big X's right here? It's like that boss was a joke, and then the inevitable end boss was a complete joke. The end boss was like the first phase of Renala, but without the part where you get to hit Renala. That's just really dumb. But like, even still, like yeah, this looks cool. Like all of these look like they got like lots of texture detail, but everything just looks like Unreal Engine store assets that they just like bought a bunch and just crammed them everywhere. And that's what art direction really adds to a game. Like this area is not that bad, But there's other areas where it's just like a lot of it doesn't make sense. But still, like, it's I know, like, you're pretty good, like, if this was a first attempt. But just imagine being able to navigate this area with a character that played and felt like a character from Dark Souls 3. It would be so much better. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're just a summon. Yeah, so like that's why my rating system, and I hate to speak like it's so great, but I did not enjoy my time with Lords of the Fallen, but I still gave it like it was like a 6.3 out of 10, or yeah, 63 out of 100. And it's because I still gave the game merit where it deserved merits. But like, yeah, it's so I can't just be like, oh, 2 out of 10 because I fucking hated it. I still have to be kind of fair. Let's look at Liza P. Another game that I also spent 20 hours on. Oh man, I'm gonna sit through the shader compilation. Brutal. So what a lot of these games do, like, again, Unreal Engine, most games look really good in Unreal Engine, and then a lot of people will focus on that, and they really don't get the playability right, which is what I think is the most important thing you should do. You should, like I said when I was bringing up Demon Souls there, you should just make a box and put your character in the box and then just test it out with like a dagger, a straight sword, a great sword, and an ultra great sword, and then see how it feels. And you should not stop until your player character feels amazing with all of those weapon types just in a box with one enemy NPC. I ran through a lot of shit. I ran through a ton of shit and I spam throwables. So, and then with Lords of the Fallen, pretty quickly I got tired of fighting the same mobs, so I just ran to the next checkpoint. Another thing with Liza P is the game fucking runs great. Like, I can run this game max settings with like 120 FPS, no problem. One thing that I wish though is that that you could go back to the early game and fight basic characters, but you can't really. Because they all mutate in the end game. More people take 24 hours plus. People tell me to get good. But okay, these are some basic bitch enemies. But I did fucking spam throwables, which were super powerful pre-patch. Nice. So again with this game, one, I feel like the hitboxes are a little bit questionable. But I also don't like in this game, kind of like I brought up earlier on, like in Sekiro, when you land a bunch of perfect deflects, you are rewarded by getting like a fatal blow. But in this game, you don't get that. You just you can land a bunch of perfect deflects, and then you will you can land a heavy attack and then you can do a visceral on the enemy, and I don't think that's that great. The Fable effects are cool. How do you get your weapon into the transformed mode? Oh yeah, it's like left bumper and Y. Or it's left bumper then Y. There we go. Oh, getting bad. The sound effects are a lot better in this game. I find them more weighty. I also don't like the roll in Lies of P either, so let me take off all my shit. That did make a damn difference. Yeah, see, it doesn't really make a difference. Like, it's so weird because it's so on the opposite side of the spectrum. So, whereas Lords of the Fallen, you would roll fucking 10 feet in front of you, and then in Lies of P, you roll, like, barely in front of you. And I've taken off, like, all my stuff. This is fucking... Yeah, the roll is funny in this game too. But yeah, like I feel like they really just packed on way too much in this game. Like I just didn't like that it was just like, what if we made Bloodborne, but we also threw in Sekiro and stuff too? It's just like, if you want to make a game like Sekiro, just do Sekiro. That's my biggest argument. It's just like, and then people love like the deflect and stuff, but what the problem with that is that you might have a weapon that's dog shit, or you might have a weapon that's like decent. I just find like your weapon never really feels like it does that much damage. Okay, let's... But it's a good attempt. But play Sekiro. Good old Activision. Let's do a new game. I'm literally gonna skip all the shit. I remember when this game came out because people thought it was gonna be Bloodborne. Can't remember, does Kuro's charm make the game easier or does it make the game harder? Makes the game easy. Makes the game for bitches. But I remember like you would get Sekiro, and then if you were a Souls vet, you would try to play the game like Dark Souls, and you just get fucking wrecked. Okay, easy.
狼よ傷をいやこれいやいしまみつあそうん
これも
だ
い
Okay, and the first thing everyone does, you go up here and get your pellets. Oh, I was like, how do you do things in this game again?
ホリこのみあうん
これをも
だ
わかりました。
Okay. Okay, and this is what I love about, okay, this is the tutorial area of Sekiro. So check this out. So, how do you fucking sneak it? Isn't it like, okay, check this out. So it makes the parry window super wide and open. So it fucking makes it really easy for anyone to do it. And you just feel like God mode. I think there's another asshole right here. There we go. Oh, he got me. Oh, he got me. I'm not used to timing. I was like, and it makes you feel like a god. But no, like it's very rewarding when you learn Sekiro's combat. Yeah, that's how you do it. Ninja. Shit is rad. Okay. Come at me, bitch. See? Look how good that feels. So the parry window is super forgiving in this area. And it's to get you cocky. It's so you start talking mad shit. So you're like, fuck, this game ain't that fucking hard. These games ain't that fucking hard, dude. All right, let's get these bitches out here. Oh, there we go. There we go. What do you got? Boom! But just fucking crush. Okay, then you go up here and you fight this dude. And it teaches you a few things. It teaches you the rhythm of the fight. So it's usually attack, attack, block, block. Attack, attack, block, block. And see how that took away his whole health bar? So you kind of have two choices in this game. It's either do chip damage until you get their health bar all the way low, then you get the final blow, or it rewards you by getting perfect deflects. So 1, 2, block, block. 1, 2, block, block. Easy mode. So that's why Sekiro, pardon me, is just like so much fucking better. It's because it's just, they really fucking nailed it for their first ever action game. Well, not their first ever action game, because From Software made action games before, but first post-Souls action game. And there's just so many great mechanics in this game that all make sense. But here's a couple of reasons why. One, your sword is not upgradable. So your sword does the damage that it does throughout the entire game. You get more damage by getting more prayer beads, but there are no ways to level up, like upgrade your weapon. And I think that's very important too. So you never have to worry about that. Whereas like a game like Lies of P, yeah, they got in a bunch of weapons, so you have weapon variety, but because of that, I don't know. And then when you have the deflect system, none of the weapons really feel that good. There's probably like a few combinations of OP weapons, but I don't know. Like, that's why the Sekiro method is just so much more effective. All right, let's see if we fuck up Genichiro. I doubt we will, though. This is a great set piece, too. Yeah, you can upgrade your prosthetic, but like those aren't meant for like damage, really. So remember, like, attack, block, block. Jump out of the way of that. Jump out of the way of that. Block the shit out of that. Oh, I should have blocked there. I got greedy. Oh. Boom. Drink in his face. Jump out of the way of that. Oh, I should have jumped there. See, the game teaches you patterns, which is like, it makes you better throughout the entire game. Whereas Lies of P fucking just teaches you like to learn that specific boss's random attack pattern. But again, another thing that I really love that Sekiro did was this segment right here. So you can beat the boss and it'll still end you up here, but the game wants you to do this way. But a great example is the game Ghost of Tsushima, where your first interaction with the end boss, he literally cannot be defeated. He will go to 1 HP and you can't bring him down any further than that, because that would ruin the game segment to how it gets you through the story. But with a little bit of creative writing, if you beat him in this moment, you will still end up in this section here, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, that was people's complaint with Sekiro. It was like, oh, like, I wish you could have used more weapons. And it's like, yeah, but the game is, you're a shinobi, you're a ninja. You are a ninja, you are a ninja. Now this is just making me want to play Sekiro. But still, like, you got to choose what type of game that you're wanting to make, because a lot of people try to cram the systems of Sekiro into their game when they want to make like a Bloodborne or like a Dark Souls game. And it's like, you can't do that. You got to pick one or the other. So do you want to make a game that's like Dark Souls, or do you want to make a game that's like Sekiro? Make a game like Sekiro. Go all in. Yeah, I love that. No, like that's kind of like the theme of the game. So you match up against Genichiro 3 times, and by the 3rd time you just make him your bitch, because you faced him so many times and you've learned all his moves. But like the first time, you've just been like this fucking shinobi in a hole for months, and you're kind of like a broken dude, and so that's why he just fucking dunks on you. But how long have I been ranting here for? Been ranting for over an hour of how I would make a Souls-like. Basically, I'm gonna sum it up. So 1, don't blow your whole budget on making a fucking huge CGI cinematic that is just gonna set the wrong expectations for your game. Make a simple CGI cinematic that plays at the start menu screen, and that's it. And then for your opening cinematic, just make it like a slideshow with some good voiceover. Like, make sure that the voiceover performance is really impactful. That'll set you up. Another thing that I loved about the Demon Souls kind of way of making a game is that they have the archstones that take you to the different areas, because everybody gets so hard dick about the interconnected world of Dark Souls 1. Like, people just fucking like creaming their pants over that. And it's like, you don't understand that that takes an insane amount of level design and just like people who have done that for a long time. By the time From Software made Dark Souls, like, they had been game developers for like 15 years. So they weren't just gonna like, it wasn't like their first game where they're attempting to make that sort of like layered level design, whereas a lot of these newcomers, it is their first attempt at it. So don't do that to yourself. You won't be able to make something as interconnected as Dark Souls 1, especially in your first or second attempt. Like, like, so far the evidence shows that no one's been able to do that, so I wouldn't even attempt that. So if you make your world design like Demon Souls, where you go to different archstones that take you to different places, that's how you can have diversity in your biomes. So you can have different areas so they don't look samey. And the way that you flex your level design there is make the different sections of each world interconnected or have unique shortcuts. And that's how you practice that skill, that level design skill. And you can have it in the different areas. And I think that's a really smart approach to do that. So you have like your main areas that you warp to, and then you have the interconnectivity in the separate warpable areas. And then make the player go through all of them, and then they finally go to the end boss. But your main focus should definitely just be on your player character. Get him in a box in a room, and then make sure that the movement feels just as good, if not better, than Dark Souls 3. Like, that should be your benchmark. You should not be trying to make a game like Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 2. I know there's a small niche of people that want that type of game, but trust me, like, after you've played Dark Souls 3 and like Elden Ring, it's hard to go back to those early games because just how much slower the combat is. And especially after you play a game like Sekiro or Bloodborne, like, the combat just seems laughably slow. So you should dual boot like Dark Souls 3 on one screen and then have your game on the other. And if your movement doesn't feel as good or better than Dark Souls 3, you're not ready to move on to the next part yet. So once you have that, then you can start focusing on what your different levels are. And a lot of you, I know you're screaming, you're probably like, well, then they're just copying Dark Souls. It's like, that's what we want. That's what we want them to do. Like, it's like, people like Battlefield because it's like Call of Duty, but it's Battlefield. I don't know if that's a good shooter comparison, but people like shooters because they're like the main one, Call of Duty. They just have their own little uniqueness. How do you make uniqueness? Like, how do you have your own identity as a Souls-like? You do it through your story. You do it through your story, your setting, your characters. That's how you make your game different than From Software games. So you make sure you put a lot of thought into that as well. And there's cool little enhancements or little features that you could put in your game that are unique to it. I thought a great one that Lies of P did was when you have enough ergo or souls to level up, the number turns blue at the top right instead of just being the regular white color. What was another mechanic that I liked in that game? I think that was pretty much it. I don't know. It's little things like that, like little niceties or little quality of life things like that can make your game have its own kind of identity. But like, honestly, like, if you just make a good game with good characters and maybe make some cool looking weapons or some cool weapon effects, that would be massive. I don't know, like, that should be your main focus. And then your level design is massive. So like, it should be natural where to go in each level. Every level should naturally lead you to the right place to go. You shouldn't feel like you're going to dead ends or things like that. So making sure your level design is very fluent and makes sense to the player. And then, like, one of the last things that you should focus on, and that should be during like your polish phase, is the visual fidelity. And again, if you're making your game in Unreal Engine games all look great. So like you shouldn't be spending a lot of your focus on that. Like people will forgive like slightly less than stellar visual fidelity if the game fucking plays like amazing. Let people go rage on your review. Game is bad. Yeah. No, I don't even care. Like, it's funny because like most of them, I try to understand like where they're coming from, but then I realize I'm like, oh, you literally have not played Dark Souls before. Like you haven't played any of these games. So what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, why are you even arguing with me? What are you even defending? Ninja. I love doing the drop. Sneak up on this bitch. Ninja! This game's just great. Again, I love that. Like, that's another stressful thing about making a Souls-like is that players are always constantly looking for the OP item or like the best weapon in the game, and they're always nervous about upgrading their weapon because they're like, oh, am I wasting upgrade materials on this weapon if there's a way better weapon that is just like somewhere else? And I get that as well. And it's like, that's a huge thing with Sekiro is that you only have the one weapon, so you don't have to worry about upgrading it on the wrong thing. You just get good at using it, and it takes you through the whole game. Get that shuriken wheel. Go over here, pick this up. More pellets that I don't need, but I can take anyway. All right, we're gonna ninja this dude. All right, jump, ninja. I love this. Okay, so remember, you want to attack, attack, block, block. Aw, did 3 attacks. Don't let him buff. Okay, and then that's I forget what they call that attack. But like you can't dodge it. You have to jump out of the way. See, there you go. But again, I love this game because it's so rewarding to learn the mechanic. Whereas in Lies of P, like, yeah, you get perfect deflects and maybe you break their weapon, but like, you don't really get anything other than that. They'll still just fucking like whambo bambo combo you because their attacks are so sporadic. Where this game, it feels rewarding as you get better at the game. A lot of people are like, it feels rewarding in Lies of P when you get better at it. It's just like, yeah, but you don't really. Like that's the thing that a lot of us don't like about it, is because each boss is so different, and you don't feel like you're getting better. I think I was just talking about Lies of P, but yeah. Lies of P I also like didn't give like a super stellar mark either. So here, let's get this next. Let's get this next checkpoint. I still love how they had roosters in this game. I remember when Game Informer got like the first kind of like the first insider interview for Sekiro. And because none of us knew what the game was going to be like, we just like kind of saw little clips of it. So we didn't know. And I remember them showing off that there's going to be crows in the game or roosters, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, is that going to be cool? What is your favorite boss in Lies of P? I don't even know. They're all kind of pissing me off by the end there. Like the one boss that's clearly their Lady Maria, like cool boss, but tons of bullshit in that boss. Yeah, Lightning Lady. The Lightning Lady. Let's go to my Twitter page. Hey, if you're not already following me on Twitter or X, oh no, that's not the account. Wrong password. Lame. Okay. Weird. Deflecting the lightning was great. You got our first try, bro. Like, I was tweaking when I was playing that boss. I probably died, I don't know how many times, and I just spammed the acidic throwables because those do big damage. That boss, and then yeah, I just spammed the shit out of them. Okay, let's yeah, here we go. Okay, let's go to my profile here. Let's look at my Lies of P review. I'll zoom in on this a little bit. There we go. A Souls-like that try to fit too many things in one game. So the story, I gave it 16 out of 20. This game has a unique take on the Pinocchio tale. I thought the story, setting, and presentation were done very, very well and had great polish. I could definitely see the hard Bloodborne inspiration among others. The story was a neat idea, just didn't land with me. So, but I still gave it like 4 out of 5 in like all of these. So that's really good. That's great. That's 5 out of 5 is perfect, which very few games get, but I gave it all 4s. You could definitely see the Bloodborne vibes. I also got vibes from that movie, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So this guy kind of reminded me of Manus at the end. And then also, what character reminded me of Radagon? The Puppet King. That one. I was like, that's fucking Radagon, dude. Like, that's just Radagon. That's hilarious. When I saw her, I knew she was a lady. My friend was like, oh no, it's a dude. That's hilarious. You know, she's like, okay, he is beating me. Gotta try to get him with the thirst trap and get this armor off. Yeah. To distract you. Graphics, 18 out of 20. Yeah, it's a great looking game. Character models looked awesome. The environments looked really cool. The special effects I thought were great. The animations were cool. Great looking game. Again, that's never the fault of these Unreal Engine games. They all look great. One thing that bothered me was the fact that your character had 0 dialogue in the entire game. Why couldn't you include a character creator when you have a fixed narrative like Sekiro, where Sekiro has actual lines and dialogue? That makes sense. So my point being is that in Lies of P, you're this character. And yeah, you're Geppetto's son, or like a recreation of Geppetto's son. But your character literally has no lines in the entire game. So what difference does it make if you had a character creator? There is none, right? So maybe they didn't have a character creator because they really liked this NPC that they created. You maybe just make this possible, or make this one of the default settings for the character creator. But like, you could have had a character creator in Lies of P. Like Sekiro makes sense because Sekiro actually has lines that he speaks. And so that's why you can't just do it. So I definitely think that they could have had a character creator in Lies of P. That was one thing that bothered me. Wrong, Jimmy. The character model matters. Yeah. Because he looks like Pinocchio, kind of. Like, I guess. But, like, it's a reimagining, so you can make him look like whatever the hell you want. I think not having customization was good because you play as a recreation of his son. Yeah, but again, you never meet his son. Like, you never meet what his son... Like, you see a dead version of his son at the end. Spoilers. But, like, you never meet his actual son. So, like, again, that could have been anything, right? So that's why a character creator could have worked. Are you being a dick? I think you're being a dick. Oh yeah, there's his picture. Oh, they couldn't have his picture in the mansion. Shit. But his picture could have been his son, like his actual son. I don't know. Like, okay, so maybe you guys don't agree with me on that, but I think like you could have had a character creator. Soundtrack 11 out of 15. I thought the ambient music was good. I thought some of the boss music was pretty good, but like nothing really like jumped out at me as like being like memorable. So that's why I gave the boss music like a 3 out of 5. But the rest I got 4 out of 5s. His son is always dead. Sekiro has speaking lines. He has speaking lines. And he talks throughout the game, where you do not. It just makes me laugh reading that. Geppetto's son is dead. Yeah, he is dead. He died. And then he tried to bring him back, but he failed at it. Gameplay, 18 out of 35. This is where I gave it low points. These were my main gripes for the bad hitboxes, ridiculous enemy hit tracking, the cheap AI, the artificial difficulty, and the bad upgrade pathing. In retrospect, like the upgrade pathing, I feel a little bit more comfortable with, but the time to gameplay, I could have given like an extra point. I thought the time to gameplay was actually pretty okay. Again, after retrospect to playing Lords of the Fallen, like I feel Liza P is so much better. The controls are, I think 2 was a little bit harsh. I think I need to redo this. This rating, because I feel like I'm being a little bit harsh. The mechanics, I did feel like they try to like pile on way too much in one game. A lot of people are like, I love that about Liza P. It's like, good for you. I don't think it worked that great. Enemy variety, I thought they did have really good enemy variety. The boss quality, the reason why I gave boss quality so low is because the bosses fucking have like so many cheap hitboxes, and they also just have like insane long combos. Like, I know the whole point is to get you to deflect all of their attacks, but they don't give you like any breathing room, or at least they didn't like pre-patch. And like you would just get fucking whambo bamboed by a 5-hit combo, no break, and then chained into like another 4-hit combo. So you would just be fucked. And like you'd get like stuck in an environment element, and then you would just die, which pissed me off to no end. Just like Souls games, they really care about like the way the bosses like chain attacks. So the boss will like do like a long combo, but then it has a rest moment to give you time to recalculate your character, like maybe take a sip of the Estus flask, do whatever, but it gives you a moment to do that. Whereas I felt the bosses in this game like really didn't. Like they would just like chain 4 and 3-hit combos and like just fucking end you, and you would not have time to do anything. You'd not have time to do jack shit. Okay, drop the character creator. So I didn't take off points for that. If you go back, I didn't subtract points for that. I gave it all good marks, and same with the story. I just said one thing that bothered me, and I didn't subtract points for this. I just said, hey, like you could have a character creator, but all of you like, there's pictures of him in the mansion. You can't do that. It's like, you could change that. You could change that. You could just make it pictures of other people. You could just make it pictures of Geppetto with a kid, and then, that was me. Who cares? Even if you make yourself look like Pepe the Frog. But I didn't subtract any points for that point. So give it a rest. What else did I give really low? The pacing. Yeah, the pacing I thought was okay. I didn't like that. One thing that I didn't like is that you would go through areas and then the world state would change and then you go through the same area again, but like things are a little bit different. I don't really like when games do that. I get it's getting the most out of certain environments, but I don't know. And then also like just like out of nowhere, like I don't know, I just didn't feel like the pacing was that great. The replayability, I was just so frustrated by the end of my playthrough. I was like, I never want to play this game again. Okay, I disagree with you there, though. So your point, like, I'm just talking about the critique legit transfers to Sekiro, but you didn't mention it. It doesn't. So Sekiro has speaking lines, so it makes sense that he has to be like this character. And you can't have speaking lines if you have a character creator. Because if you have a character creator, you have the different body types that you could select from, and you have like all that customization that you have, and you can't make speaking lines for that. So because in Lies of P, your player character has 0 speaking lines, I felt that you could just make it a character creator. You can't change his hair. Yeah, you can make him look however you want, but like you can't, I don't know, it'd be a lot more difficult because then you'd have to have multiple voice types record the same dialogue. That happened one time. You can make him look like a donkey. I love that in every Souls game. Like the first thing people do is when it's on PC, people get what's his face from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. They get his character model in the game and they replace your character with his character model. Love that every single time they do that. Yeah, so I gave it like mad points off for the actual gameplay. This is like the main thing is the hitboxes are just so bullshit in this game. So like here's an example that I recorded. So like we all know this enemy is like the last giant type enemy that's in the game. But like look, the stomp is like so far away from me, but it fucking completely hits me. And people are like, yeah, but it's an AoE attack. And it's like, it doesn't feel like a fucking AoE attack. It's definitely the hitboxes. He won't give you upgrades if you mod your character. He's like, you're not my son. I don't approve of that fucking shitty hairdo that you changed. This was one example that I'm glad that I had recorded, but I had so many where like enemies, like look how fucking far he jumps and his character like artificially moves to snap to my location so he can hit me, even though he should be out of range. And a lot of enemies had that in Lies of P. Like a boss, it was like a mini boss enemy full on clipped through a bridge to fucking jump attack and hit me because it snapped to my location. And that shit drives me nuts. Like the mini boss model clipped through the geometry of a fucking bridge instead of hitting the hitbox of the bridge and like being stopped there. It clipped through the geometry and fucking landed a hit on me. Complete bullshit. Yeah, I went in early. The Pop of the Future just took ages. What is the giant stomp? It's this guy right here. The upgrade pathing, again, I still feel the same way. Like there's just too many upgrade paths. So you can upgrade your RPG attributes through your stat points. You can upgrade your weapons. You can upgrade your removable arm. And you also upgrade your P organ, which also upgrades attributes of your damage output as well. So there's just way too many ways to upgrade your damage. And I really felt like I would be pumping points into my stats, and I just didn't really feel like a big ROI out of them. Like I didn't feel like I was getting like any stronger, or my attacks were doing like significantly more damage. Whereas like in a Dark Souls game, if you have like 20 strength versus 60 strength, you definitely see it in your attacks. You do way more damage. You have way higher DPS. Whereas in this game, I didn't see the DPS output where I'd want it to be, and it was because through my P organ I wasn't upgrading the right stats there. Another thing too is locking core movement mechanics behind an upgrade path. Complete bullshit. The only Souls game to ever do that was Dark Souls 2 with the ADP stat, and they never repeated that in any of their games for a reason, because it's a dog shit way of doing upgrades. You should not lock core movement mechanics behind an upgrade path. You should always start the game off with like all movement unlocked on your character, and the upgrade mechanic should just be for specific stats or specific types of damage that you want to do. It isn't. Jimmy just want to. Okay, if it was an AoE, it doesn't have a good signifier that it's an AoE. See, like it doesn't like. It's just a stomp. So remember when I fought the Vanguard in Demon Souls, which came out in 2009, when it does like the big lift and it drops, it has like a circular kind of AoE effect that you visibly see where the radius is of the AoE attack. This doesn't. See, it's just splashing around in the water, which it normally does when it steps. So it doesn't have a good visual representation that it is an AoE, which I think is bullshit. But the Makiri counter isn't a core movement mechanic. So imagine if Sekiro put like, let's say, you know, when you hit dodge and you do a sidestep, what if before you could upgrade it, you only did half of a sidestep? So to get out of an attack, you had to press the dodge button twice. But then you could upgrade the full dodge, and then you only have to press it once. That would be bullshit. The Telegraph is that it's 20 feet tall. This was the point I was waiting for. It is against spears. I think there should be a visual representation. There should be like a circle that draws around its foot, or like some sort of indicator that there is like a diameter, a circumference for that AoE. But that's just one example that you guys are fixating on when there's many examples of bullshit hitboxes like that throughout the game. So argue this bullshit with me, like how it like snaps to my location. But you didn't drain the pool. Don't make me go back in that game and drain the pool first and then record that. I wonder if I do have that recorded somewhere that I could find. Let's keep going through my review here. Throughout my frustrating playthrough, I did not feel like upgrading my weapons made that big of it. That's true. So I would upgrade my weapons and I would feel like they weren't that much better. Whereas like, again, in any of the Souls games, like when you upgrade your weapon, like when you go from like a +1 to like a +4, the weapon is like almost completely different. It does so much damage. It does so much more damage. But in Lies of P, like I felt like I would upgrade my weapons and I wouldn't see that big of a difference. I'm talking like this game is a spawn of hell. I'm not. I'm being actually like pretty nice. Like I feel like I'm being pretty nice. Yeah, so again, when you're comparing like the Makiri counter to like locking core movement behind the P organ, the Makiri counter does more posture damage, but you can still get out of the way of that attack. You can jump over the attack, or you can just like really range yourself out of it. It is a bit more tricky to do, but you can do it. Whereas, well, I guess you could kind of make the same argument with like the upgrading the roll with the P organ. It's like you could still use the regular roll, it's just more difficult. But I don't feel like the Makiri counter is a core game mechanic. The snapping is a critique from Sekiro 2. How do you mean? What enemy snapped? Well, you brought up an example and it was the troll boss. And yeah, the kanji attacks, like that display kanji, those ones are undodgeable attacks. And it's the same in Liza P as well, because the enemies that, like, when they turn red and then they attack you, you can't dodge them. But you can perfect deflect them. But in Sekiro, you can't deflect them. You have to get the hell out of the way. No, I watched it where he does the drop kick and it hits you. Okay. Technical, 10 out of 10. I gave this game a really good score for technical because it ran amazing. And I think a big reason for that is because they released the demo a while ago and they had time to put a lot of polish on the game. So the game ran great. Like with right on day one, like I was able to get it like max settings at like full 120 frames per second. Don't make me boot up Sekiro just to fucking show you guys. All right. And then, yeah, especially with the state with games that are releasing these days, is just like, I think that's really impressive. Like, even just like Lords of the Fallen, like how shit that game was at the start and like how many updates they're having to put out daily. And then Liza P at launch, like fucking runs perfectly, which I thought was really good. I give it a 73 out of 100. That's a decent score. That's a good game. What's it in my new rating system? Because I felt like there was too big of a bracket between like good games. So 73 is a good game. So I said Liza P was a good game. It's not amazing. It's not perfect. Good game. I think that's fair. Don't dirt talk Lords of the Fallen. But yeah, 63, it's okay. It's barely okay. I think that's a pretty fair rating for Lords of the Fallen. And then Liza P, I feel like I could give it a few points, but it would still make it a good game. It's not amazing. It's a good game. That's kind of my thoughts. And you guys are adamant. Adamant. Okay. Let's boot that shit back up. You guys are being pricks about it. The ogre snaps to your location. Do all enemies in Sekiro? You found one example? What should it be? Tell me what, Big Shot, tell me what Lords of the Fallen should be recognized for. Yes, most of them do. I fucking hate these guys too. Okay, so I strafe there on purpose. Okay, so that's it kicking. Okay, and I dodged out of the way there. Okay, so that hit me when I dodged. Okay, dodged out of the way there. Okay, that's the kick. That kick hitting me was pretty questionable. Okay. Yeah, got me through the dodge there. Being able to traverse the world in Umbral to get more vigor, but having to deal with increased difficulty. I didn't find that great of a mechanic. So you can go into Umbral, and then yeah, it increasingly gets more difficult, and then you get like a times table by your what do they call their version of souls, and then you can earn more the longer you stay there. But what ends up happening is you just get like mobbed by a bunch of bullshit enemies. Whereas you could just pick out like a farming spot that you like and then just rush that. So I don't like, neat idea. I don't think it should be recognized for that though. Okay, I dodged that. I think the trick there, okay, that got me. But I think the trick was because if you dodge right. Okay, kicked and hit me. See, I dodged left and then now I'm missing it. No, that still hits me. So the point that War1 is bringing up is because in this game and Lies of P, the whole point is to use the deflect system. So the swords need to clash with each other. So that's why they need the enemies to snap to you, is so your swords can clash together. That's a creative way of thinking why it could be doing that. But all I know is it feels egregious in Lies of P and other Unreal Engine Souls-like games, whereas in Sekiro, I might be like, I hate this boss, or like, I feel like this boss is a little bit bullshit, but I don't know, like I never go like, oh, it never became a real focus. That hitting me is pretty bullshit, but yeah, that kick, it's kind of bullshit. I'll agree with that. See, I was able to dodge that by going left. Personal opinion, but I love the move set of weapons in Lords of the Fallen. That I completely fucking disagree with you on. The move set of the weapons. Why? Because it feels like God of War, like how you fucking can traverse like 20 feet of ground by pressing R1 and R2. That I disagree with. The move set of the weapons. What move set? Not God of War, please no. Yeah, we don't want to spend an hour to chop down a tree. Don't make me platinum God of War. I already beat God of War Ragnarok. Fucking spite. Okay, let's bring up Lords of the Fallen so I can fucking show Big Shot over here that there are no fucking move sets for any of the weapons. I had a feeling that this is what this stream would turn into, me just flipping back and forth between these games. The umbrella flower beds being basically portable bonfires. Yeah, but then they rely on that too much and they don't space out their bonfires good enough. It's like that was a mechanic in Dark Souls 3 that they scrapped because of the logistics of it. And it just shows in Lords of the Fallen that it's like, okay, yeah, you can plant the seed to have a temporary bonfire that goes away when you plant the seed somewhere else. I don't know, like I feel like they should just did a better job of mapping out proper bonfires. You're just here to make sure the drama stays high. Okay, perfect. I'm in the right spot for this. Okay, so this is a straight sword. This is the straight sword. What did you call it? Move set. Okay. Okay, let's look at the R2 now. Okay, so some wide swings. Okay, let's go one-handed. Okay, R2. Wow, these are some really fucking industry-leading movesets here. Let's go to a large sword. Okay, so some side swipes. The same kind of like poke stab. Let's go two-handed. Are we getting the picture here, everybody? Okay, let's go with something else. Let's choose this axe. Okay, kind of just like the same swipes, but it's just shorter range. Okay, a downward strike. Big Shot, these are the move sets that you think need a shout out. Okay, let's look at this. Janky saw cleaver. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. Okay, let's go not two-hand. Okay. What else we got? Let's pick this. Okay, an overhand swing. Okay. Let's look at the R2s. Okay, these are pretty standard. Let's go two-handed. Okay, kind of looks the same. You know, also notice about Lords of the Fallen too. Like, look at the fucking how goofy the movement is. Like, you kind of like slide on the ground, and it even like kicks up dust. Like, I'm fucking moonwalking here. Like, look how fucking goofy that looks. Get the fuck out of here with like the moveset bullshit. Take that comment and flush it down the toilet, because that's fucking biggest hawk of shit I've ever heard. Okay, another thing that I noticed about Lords of the Fallen, like Dark Souls games, like the earlier ones didn't, but the later ones do this. Like, you can press up in R2 and that'll do like a jumping attack. But in this game, no, you just do the same thing. So there is no like up and attack. Okay, maybe I'm not being fair. Let's pick another hammer. Okay, looks kind of the same. So it looks like the move sets are depending on weapon type. What do we got here? Big staff. Okay, what do we got? Okay, a poke attack, an overhand, another poke attack. Is it the same sequence? Is it poke, overhand, poke? Yep. Okay, so same sequence. Poke, overhand, poke, swipe. What benefits does jumping attack ever provide? It does a lot of posture damage, so it breaks the guard of the enemies. Also, doing a jump R2, so an up R2, like say if your weapon only has vertical swipes, when you do an up R2, you would do a horizontal strike. So if you're in a hallway where you can't swipe your weapon without hitting the walls, you would do an up R2 so you're not completely fucked. So that's why. So, okay. So I think we can all agree here, and just by showing, unless Big Shot, do you have any other pushback for my showing of the different attack types that the weapons have? I would disagree. Go fight Havel, and then you will quickly understand that he has way more posture than you, because you will get fucking stun locked when he hits you with the dragon tooth. But yeah. Yeah, he's got poise, pardon me, posture. He might have good posture as well. It's probably hard to stand straight in that heavy armor. But here's the thing. So again, Lords of the Fallen, brand new game, came out in 2023. There's no weapon arts in any of the weapons. Some weapons you can buff. You can use items to buff them. So you can do this, and now I have a buff. All Souls games have that, where all weapon types have different move sets. Same to Lords of the Fallen, where it depends on weapon class. So if it's a dagger, straight sword, great sword, ultra great sword, axe, heavy axe, they all have different move sets that are similar to the class itself. But what, let's use Dark Souls 3 as an example, has on top of that is the thing called weapon arts. So each weapon has its own weapon art, which was not interchangeable until Elden Ring, where it had Ashes of War. But in Dark Souls 3, you had weapon arts. And yeah, a lot of the weapon arts are similar, but they do add a cool, unique function on top of the weapon itself. And I'll show you that in an example. Okay, so here I am, Dark Souls 3. This is like a starter character. So again, very similar to Lords of the Fallen. If I just press R1, I've got kind of like these diagonal type swipes. And then if I press R2, I've got kind of more vertical swipes. If I go one-handed, again, they're mostly vertical. They're not diagonal. And this one, again, I've got like the pokey, and then I got like the backhand. And you also do like an R1, R2, R1 kind of combo here. But what I also have, you notice I have a blue bar at the top left. So if I two-hand this sword and I press L2, I kind of go in this stance, and it's because this is my weapon art. And for this particular weapon, the weapon art is this big swing right here. And you see how it takes a little bit of FP when I do that? So a bunch of weapons have different weapon arts. So let's go to this axe here. If I go to this one, I two-hand it and I press L2, I get this little buff here. That's the weapon art for this weapon. What DS3 weapon art has you summon 2 gold spirits of a boss you have killed that shoot lasers at foes? I have no idea. Is that even in there? Are you comparing that to like a Lords of the Fallen magic attack that you can throw off? Yeah, because the Lothric sword, I think when you use the weapon art, it buffs it with fire. What does this one do? Can I even use the weapon art on this one? It's also a... But yeah, this game actually has weapon arts, which I think is great. Okay, let's go back to my straight sword. So again, like what I mentioned there, when I press up R2, I do a jumping thrust attack. So if I'm in a tight hallway, like here, and I'm constantly hitting the wall, then I can do a jump R2 and fuck up the person who maybe they're like trying to kite you back in a tight hallway. So you're not like, oh, I'm fucked with this weapon, right? The Pieta Remembrance gives that spell. Great. Like there's lots of cool spells that Dark Souls has as well. That's not a weapon art though. That's a fucking spell. Like, I don't know. I feel like I disproved your point there. Like Lords of the Fallen should not be recognized for its attack combos. I feel like it's ridiculous that when you press R1, you move so far ahead. Again, yes, but you asked what is the like again, the straw man argument type is like you're, instead of actually arguing the point, you bring up another example, and you guys were doing that earlier with the ogre, and it's like, if you have a weapon that mainly does overhand attacks, yeah, that won't be a problem. But if your main weapon is a weapon that does more vertical strikes and you're in a hallway, you shouldn't be completely fucked or forced to use another weapon. So what they do is they have extra combos that you can do, and you can get around that. We don't need handout participation awards. But like honestly, like imagine like the visual fidelity of Lords of the Fallen, but your character controlled like a Dark Souls 3 character. Like that game would be incredible. And they don't even have to have magic. They could just have melee only, and that game would be so fucking badass, and like it would sell way more than 1 million copies. I'm shocked that it sold so many copies, but kudos to them. Kudos to people that are putting like 100 hours into that terrible game and like claiming that they love it. It's like, good. I'm glad. Asmongold brought up the best point. It's just like, yeah, you can't stop people from eating shit, but don't tell the rest of us that it's chocolate. It's like, you're eating shit. And it's like, that's fine if you like to eat shit, but the rest of us don't. And like what I value in a game is like I don't even need top-notch visuals. I'm still super happy playing the original Demon Souls, but what I value most in a game is playability. And if your character like feels good and plays good, it's just like I will forgive a lot in your game, and that's my point. Like this game doesn't even have a jump button. Oh, I usually get up here first try. I got streamer. What's it called when you're nervous? I got streamer's fright. There we go. Baba Booey. If Asmongold agrees with you, then you are in rough shape. He said roll catching is cheating. If Asmongold agrees with me, Asmongold doesn't do anything with me because he doesn't even know who I am. But he made a good point about people who like to eat shit, which I 100% agree with. You like to eat shit, I can't stop you. And nor will I try. Can that dude even get up here? I don't think he can. Twinkling Titanite back here. What else is back here? I think that's it. Yeah, you have to have the key in here to get up top there and kick that ladder down. But yeah, I think I made my point. You jump to the roof from the dead tree? Yeah, that's like one of the first skips. Best thing is my FMD refunded the game quick because he sensed how bad it is. Nice. If you're on the right patch, I'm on current patch of Dark Souls 3. Listen, maybe we disagree to disagree. Yeah, that's fine. If you like Lords of the Fallen, great. But don't come at me with points that don't make sense. Sekiro is oversucked. Sekiro? I used to hate Sekiro, pardon me. I used to not like Sekiro one bit. Because I played it like Dark Souls 3. And I was like, and then plus I don't like the shinobi. I'm like, I'm not really into feudal Japan or the shinobi aesthetic. But yeah, like I full on used to not really enjoy Sekiro that much. And there we go. And it wasn't like my first playthrough was rough. It was so rough. I like had so much trouble with it. And like by like after the first time I fought Genichiro, I had to start looking up tutorials or like guides. And I think it's like at the time on YouTube, his name was Sekiro Guru. And he would always be like, Sekiro Guru here. And he hilarious videos. But I had to follow his guides to get through the whole game. And because the reason why is because I wanted to platinum it before all my other friends who bought Sekiro the same time as me. And I got the platinum and I was like, I never want to play that game ever again. And it wasn't until like a full year and a bit later that the game clicked with me. And then I picked it up again and I'm like, fuck, this game is so good. Like I just really got attached to it. But definitely in the beginning, it was rough for me to like Sekiro. Yeah, the Seven Spears boss, that's the one with like the big spear, right? And then the whole point with him is you just like you get the Makiri counters and you fuck them up. But like Sekiro, Warwana in the chat, he hasn't finished it yet, but You get an ability in that game, and it's still OP to this day. And once you learn how OP that ability is, you just go get it as early as possible, and you will fuck up the whole game, including the ape. And that's really interesting when your first game is Sekiro. Like going from there, it's so funny. Like after playing Sekiro, like going back to Bloodborne, like I used to think parries were super hard in Bloodborne, but when I play Sekiro and then you go back to Bloodborne, you're like, I feel like I'm like Ultra Instinct playing fucking Bloodborne. It is not OP, it is necessity. I don't want to give away what the ability is because Warawana in the chat hasn't beaten the game yet. But it's a specific ability that you get in the game, and you can use it later on, and it definitely makes especially bosses and mini bosses way easier. I love Bloodborne too. Like Bloodborne was my favorite until Elden Ring, and the only reason why I like Elden Ring so much is I could see all of the things that From Software has learned over their tenure and that they incorporated into the game. That makes it so great. But it was my I have 6 Bloodborne tattoos. Like I love Bloodborne, but Elden Ring's my new favorite. Yeah, Bloodborne 2. I remember this fucking jabroni on Twitter like argued with me forever about like he was talking like Bloodborne 2 was like on its way out, not Bloodborne 2, like a Bloodborne remaster was on its way out. It was coming out any month now. Sony was working on it, and it was due to high sales of the board game. And I was like, you are fucked. And I'm like, you are fucked if you think that. From Software and Sony have left Bloodborne in the dust. It's gone. They're never doing anything with it. They've moved on. They don't give a shit about it anymore. A fucking remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn is coming out. Like that's the type of shit that they're working on. They're working on their own first parties to be remastered, remade, re-released. They're making a Last of Us Part 2 fucking remake. Like, what a joke. I love Bloodborne, but I don't have a PS to play it. Elden Ring and Sekiro, my favorite, but also worship Bloodborne. Damn the soundtrack, the lore, and the fight with Orphan of Cause. I hate when people call it Cause because it's Orphan of Cause. Bloodborne's amazing. Like Bloodborne, I would legitimately, if I had never played Bloodborne, if you are a Souls player out there that's played all the Dark Souls games, Sekiro, Elden Ring, and you haven't played Bloodborne, it is worth it to fucking go buy a used PlayStation 4 to play Bloodborne. Like that's how good it is. Borrow a friend's PlayStation 4. It is that worth it. But like honestly, like if you've waited this long, just wait a couple of years until PS4 emulation becomes viable and you can just emulate it on PC. Cleric B starts playing, yeah. My friends don't play video games in real life. Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, as you get older, that sucks too. Yeah, a lot of friends don't play video games. So yeah, I don't know. Like, get one used. How much is a PlayStation 4 used on eBay? Oh, I gotta fucking... You guys can't see. We're gonna go to ebay.com for the USD. PlayStation 4. Go buy it now, and then we're gonna go buy shipping lowest first. That's for the box. You get a console for $75. Does it work? Used PlayStation and average condition does not include cords or controllers and stuck in safe mode. Okay, that's why. Doesn't work. Box only. Okay, what if I put PlayStation 4 console? And I want the 500 gig one. And I want it to be US Canada. That's the box. Okay, this one's 115 bucks. This one's 80 bucks. I'm sure you can go on Craigslist and find a PlayStation for like 100 bucks. 150. I would spend $200 to play Bloodborne. Honestly, like a lot of people who say like they fucking get mad at Bloodborne for being 30 frames per second, I don't believe you. Like I will still play it to this day. Like here, I'll boot it up right now. You guys are making this the stream that never ends. Oh yeah, because I'm on. Boom. I have to switch my input. Okay, I'll update later. But I'll legit, like, I will play Bloodborne. And, like, at first, it's a little, like, oh, it's a little jarring. But, like, really quickly, you, like, I don't know, it just feels good. And it's because they tuned it so well at 30 FPS. And that's not me saying, like, would I like it to be 60 FPS? Of course I would. But I'm still okay with it being at 30 FPS. And would I like the load times to be faster? Of course I would. Do I not have any fire paper? Are you joking me? Gonna go back to the dream. Okay, I'm about to ask a niche question. How do you guys feel about the Baltius Armored Core nerf? I don't know. I haven't played it since it got nerfed, but man, they really nerfed Baltius? Like, that sucks. Oh, I did have fucking paper. What's wrong with me? I should buy some more because I got so much insight. I want 4. And 2. I'm not interested in Armored Core. I just don't like gun games that much. Bruh, you're missing out. Armored Core is so fucking good. It's so good. I don't even like mech games, and I fucking loved Armored Core 6. People complain and game nerf it while a few players already killed it without any complaint. I don't know, like, honestly, yeah, it's cool to say, like, I beat the boss pre-patch, and I get people like that, but, like, honestly, like, it's a cool fight. I'm sure even after the nerf, it's still challenging for a lot of people. I don't mind it. It's kind of like Radon. Like, Radon pre-patch, like, he was fucking tough, but, like, after that, they, like, completely nerfed him. Alright, let's fuck up this boss. Yeah, yeah. But it's like, I don't know, if you got the Steam version, there's ways of downloading the pre-patch version of the game. And if you have the disc version, you can just install the disc and not do any updates. And then get a taste of it if you want to see what the original boss was like. Oh man, remember when I know they did kind of like adjust Millennia a bit, but remember when one of the patches broke Millennia and she would just like gradually, her health would just gradually come back even if she didn't hit you? I know, I love that, but I love that, just how bad, Baltius demoed so many people. Okay, we gotta run. Run. Drops down. Okay, hit him in the face. Done deal. I killed Radon before the nerf, and let me tell you, he was not hard. Fuck you. Fuck you. I definitely played Radon. I set up a New Zealand PSN account and loaded it with a PSN gift card from New Zealand so I could play Elden Ring like 2 days earlier than everyone else. And I don't know, fucking Radon was tough. But good for you. Good for you if you killed him with ease. And the whole game was easy to you and you played with the controller upside down. I don't give a shit. Radon was tough. I forgot that AoE. Oh yeah, keep that visceral. I played Elder with Donkey Kong Mongos. Yeah, and I still found it too easy. I played it with a Fisher Price kids controller, and it was still way too easy. Wow. See, dude, the fucking soundtrack of this game is just so good. A lot of people are like, oh, like you like got fucked up by Pieta like for like 2 hours, and it's like, okay, there's a huge difference. Listen up, everybody. There is a huge difference between playing a game goblin mode in your room by yourself with no one watching than playing a game while streaming, while paying attention to chat and like trying to keep a conversation going. Completely different. Completely fucking different. And I'm not blaming it on that necessarily. Yeah, skill issue, whatever, but you have to admit there is a level of complexity that is different between the two types of gaming. I also died from the meteor 2 to 3 times because I had no idea what to do at that time. So there you go, you died 2 to 3 times, but yet you're like, it's not hard. When people say like a boss isn't hard, it's like, okay, so you fucking no-hit the boss with the level 1 weapon and you thought it was so easy, but like you find out what they mean by it's not hard is, yeah, I died a few times, but I didn't like rage quit. And it's like, okay, but the boss is still hard because it still killed you. You didn't just beat it your first try. Oh yeah, there's these ladies here. There's these fucking ladies here. When you first fight Ludwig, you get hit with an AoE that does next to no damage and you think nothing of it, and you get hit with an insta-kill Moonlight Tornado with the voice of 1,000 Suns. Yeah. So the big mechanical giant boss that one-shot me with its apparent stomp AoE, and Ludwig fucking drops the moonlight, the holy moonlight sword in the ground and does an AoE, and it hits me, but it doesn't kill me. So again, semantics. But anyway, Bloodborne, 30 FPS, still an awesome game. Anyways, everybody, I've said this 2 times already. Thank you so much for hanging out. This was a fun stream. I hope you learned something. That's how I would make a Souls game, and that's how my rating system works. I went over a lot of stuff in this stream, and I hope you found it helpful. But thanks for hanging out, and I will try to release some new videos as soon as possible. All right, see you soon. Cheers, everybody.